What's up, everybody? Welcome to the final free edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. 6 games on the NBA slate today. We're going to talk through all of them, including the 2 games that tip at 3 o'clock Eastern. We'll get to those. Before we get to those, as I noted on the intro there, as I noted yesterday, for those of you who missed the show yesterday, we have decided to turn this show into a premium show. To get access to the show, if you continue to be interested in viewing this show, you will need a subscription either to our NBA DFS product or our NBA props products. We have one props product offering right now. We are adding another one tomorrow that starts tomorrow that will be a projections only props product as well. So you can check out the subscribe page if you're interested there. Bittersweet for us. Love doing the show for a bigger audience, but understand that we need to be cognizant of serving our paid customers first. And with the props markets getting more and more challenging on the whole, we want to try to provide that extra value to our prop subs, and then of course our DFS subs who are getting ready for the slates as well. So I will reiterate that on the exit, but wanted to get it on the intro. With me to talk through these 6 games as always, Mike Gallagher. Mike, how are you doing today?
Yeah, excited for the slate. Excited to wrap up 2024. Won a couple of fantasy championships last night, so all's well. And definitely appreciate everyone listening. And I'm gonna try to, since we're going premium, I'm gonna try to look at some more stuff, some spread stuff, and track it, and hopefully can add some value there. Haven't been doing too much of the giving out bets, but gonna try to do that a little bit more and see how it goes. If it doesn't go well, then I'll stop. But generally, been doing pretty well with stuff, so I will try to add some more value there.
Glad to hear the fantasy playoffs wrapped for you. Well, I was leading the showdown MME streets with 2 minutes left to go in the game. Just need to avoid Jahmyr Gibbs outscoring Amon-Ra St. Brown by 5 points from that point on. And so, unfortunately, that was a $50,000 swing for me from plus 52,000 to negative 2,000 on the Jahmyr Gibbs long touchdown run to end the game there. But nobody cares. Let's get to basketball.
We got to shout out producer Ryan too real quick.
Yep.
Producer Ryan, hit 100K in the DK best ball. So shout out to producer Ryan. Always does great work. Also a fantastic guy. Got to hang out with him over the summer. Quite a bunch. We went hiking. Just shout out Ryan. Great dude.
Yep. All right. Let's get into the hoop side of things. Let's start with these 3 o'clock Eastern games. We do have injury clarity on these games. Let's start with Milwaukee and Indiana. On the Milwaukee side of things, Giannis Antetokounmpo was listed questionable. He's now expected to play with the non-COVID illness. AJ Green listed probable with a right calf contusion, expected to play. Chris Middleton listed probable bilateral ankle surgery recovery. He's listed expected to play now. So with Giannis and back in the mix and Dame not on the injury report, what are your notes for Milwaukee?
Yeah, big return for Giannis. We saw him, miss time for the back spasms and then catch an illness that cost him some time. Dame also had the calf, got ill, and returned. And Dame returned without a minutes limit. And Doc Rivers said that Giannis Antetokounmpo will not have a minutes limit as far as he knows. Peak Doc Rivers. So, expecting him to start. Obviously, Chris Middleton, who was going to start about 4 or 5 games ago, moved into the starting lineup coincidentally while Giannis was out. Doc had said that they were going to start Middleton anyway. So the starting lineup should be Dame, Andre Jackson. He'll be the primary on Tyrese Halliburton. Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis will have a prominent bench role. And then Gary Trent should be in there. And then we're getting a little dicey here as we're a little unsure how this back end's going to go. Taurean Prince's minutes have come down. He's obviously coming off the bench now. He gets squeezed a bit now that you have to compete with Bobby, Giannis, and Brook. All for those 4-5. There's a chance if those 3 guys, Giannis, Brook, Bobby, cover the 4-5 minutes, he could really get squeezed here as Middleton's minutes are up. I should mention, too, he had 28 minutes, pushed past his 25 minute that they were very, very strict on. So a little bit more lenient on that front. But AJ Green should be in the mix. I feel pretty safe about him. But Ryan Rollins, Taurean Prince, and Gary Trent are kind of all squeezing in there for the back end of the rotation. If one of them could get really, really squeezed here, and I do like Ryan Rollins kind of on the upswing, Taurean Prince on the downswing. And I think Gary Trent and AJ are pretty stable. They'll probably be around 20. But curious to see how much Prince gets squeezed, how much overlap we get from Bobby and Brook. And then, of course, the headline, how many minutes does Giannis play? after missing some time with the illness and ankle. As we know, Doc not exactly in the know when it comes to information on his players.
Yeah, and should note that Milwaukee, through all the ups and downs of the different injury situations that they've had, have been pretty consistent in playing 9 guys. So it seems like Doc Rivers, 9 guys. You can see this is a 9-man rotation here. So we add Giannis back into the mix here. Someone's falling out. It's most like I would think it's most likely Ryan Rollins, but obviously, as you allude to, Taurean Prince also vulnerable there as well. All right, Indiana side. Doubtful tags on Enrique Freeman, Quentin Jackson, interest in Newton G Leaguers. We got Obi Toppin upgraded to available with the left ankle sprain, so we'll have the return of Obi Toppin tonight. Pacers, nice win in Boston, splitting that 2-game series there. What are your notes on the Pacers?
Yeah, real nice win there. Nice to get Obi upgraded. We saw Obi, rolled his ankle outside where his foot went out. It's really painful. Surprised he's back pretty soon. We'll see how his minutes fare here. I think he doesn't have much upside because Jarris Walker was really good in this game and really capitalized on his opportunities. So I think they want to play Jarris. So we'll see Ben Shepherd, who was basically ahead or call it even with Jarris. That's an interesting split, how those 3 bench wings will fit, and they do have Thomas Bryant. So there's a chance that Jarris, who's been playing well, could cut into Obi's ceiling, Ben Shepherd's ceiling, and then could cut down. Not this matchup specifically with Thomas Bryant, but I think other matchups they'd be more willing to play smaller there. So I think Jarris Walker is in the mix. Andrew Nembhard also playing great. In the first unit, he's been out driving Tyrese Halliburton in the last 2, basically drawing even for touch time. Rick Carlisle says that they'd like running the offense more through Andrew Nembhard to take some pressure off Halliburton. Really nice bounce back game from Halliburton with 31 over the weekend. And then, everything else is mostly the same. Pascal Siakam's minutes are down a little bit, partly because of blowout, partly because of Jarris. I think Jarris played so well that he cut into Siakam for about a half rotation there. So we'll see if Pascal Siakam's minutes can kind of get back into the mid-30s range because they are down because of, as I noted, blowout. He did get cut a little bit in this game and then also the OKC game. A lot of similarities with their big wings and stuff. So could be a bit of a matchup thing to get more wing defense out there in those spots. But I expect Pascal's minutes to bounce back here against the Bucks. And should note on the matchup front, Giannis has absolutely killed these guys. I always talk about the Oscar Tshiebwe Bowl where he had the big game and took Oscar's first points away. But exciting game to start the day.
Toronto and Boston, the other 3:00 Eastern game, a little bit less compelling here, but from an injury perspective, Grady Dick listed questionable with the right hamstring tightness. RJ Barrett is out with illness. Quickly still out with that partial UCL tear. And then Bruno Fernando and Davion Mitchell were both listed questionable. Davion with illness, Bruno with the left foot great toe, shout out Dank, inflammation. Neither Fernando or Mitchell have really been in the rotation of late, so not a big concern there. But what are your notes here on the Raptors?
Yeah, not great for RJ, man. Again, with this illness, don't really know a timeline, didn't travel. We'll see if he comes back they play tomorrow at home. So maybe they're, hey, stay away and you'll be back tomorrow. They get Brooklyn tomorrow on a back-to-back. But you're moving him, obviously. We'll see about Grady Dick. But with RJ out, feel pretty good that Jacoby Walter should move into the first unit. We saw Jacoby Walter start 2 games, those 2 games that RJ Barrett missed. So pending Grady Dick, it should be Scotty Barnes at the point, Grady Dick, Ochai Agbaji, Jacoby Walter, and then we did get Jakob Poeltl returning over the weekend and returning in pretty full capacity. If not for garbage time, he's been playing pretty full after that little groin tweak there. The other note from the last game was a bit of a surprise as Jonathan Mobo, who was pretty firmly in the mix for rotation minutes, went away. You see 6 minutes on the screen. That was all garbage time as Cruz Boucher, who was out of the mix, leapfrogged him. And then lastly, Bruce Brown returned and returned quite positively with 19 minutes and played pretty normal. Had a lot of energy. Thought he looked fine. We know he had that reconditioning tag on him for call it 3 weeks. So yeah, he'll be in there. Would expect him to sit tomorrow in the back-to-back. But the headline here is I don't know what's up with this RJ illness. Definitely a concern that, you just got over illness a week and a half ago or whatever, and now he's not traveling.
Yeah, I wonder if it's just back-to-back related. I kind of want to see what they list him tomorrow as. It's one of these things where, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they list him tomorrow. But it is weird. He did have setbacks with that illness before. Should note that Fernando and Davion Mitchell were both upgraded to available. So they are available. I don't know that they'll play, but they are available now.
Yeah, if I can
side.
add to that, if I could just say really, I'd be pretty surprised if Davion plays. I mean, they like Jamal Shed. We mentioned Bruce Brown's in the mix now. Jacoby Walter, they're going to play. So they've got plenty of guard depth here. I think they still want to play Boucher. Yeah, if Grady Dick's in there, I'm pretty confident Davion's not going to play. Perhaps a pretty clear trade target for anyone who wants like backup guard depth.
Yep. And most likely starters here in the absence of RJ and Grady alongside Scotty and Jakob and O'Shea. If like Grady were to miss, who do you think is the most likely starter there?
I think they might go Bruce, and kind of keep his minutes in check. But it could definitely be Shed. But yeah, I kind of lean Bruce if he's out.
Okay. Let's move to Boston side where Drew Holiday was questionable, is going to be available today. Kristaps Porzingis was questionable, is not going to be available today. He's out with that left ankle issue. Those are the injury notes on Boston. We've seen them playing without both of these guys of late. So getting Drew back into the mix, what do things look like for Boston today?
Yeah, we should be pretty confident the starting lineup is going to be the Jays, Drew, Derek White, and then Al Horford starting at the 5 spot, bumping Sam Hauser to the bench, and then Peyton Pritchard will still be in there, and then Luke Cornett had been running pretty much straight ahead of Mias Keita. That should be the core group of guys. Jordan Walsh had been playing more minutes, and that was almost purely because of just opportunity with the injuries. Actually, quite interesting that Joe Mazzulla, he was asked about like Jordan Walsh getting minutes, and he basically said like, "Oh yeah, that's just because those guys are out." You usually don't hear that from coaches. You usually hear, "Oh yeah, he's maybe earning minutes." You get like the rosy answers. Joe Mazzulla doesn't have time for the garbage, so shout out Joe. So yeah, that's their core guys. I think they could squeeze Jordan in there for some minutes, but you're getting pretty full here with their top 8, so you may not need them, and they're coming off a loss. So big spread. I think it's down to 16.5. They should handle their business. This Raptors team is really struggling, especially defensively.
Yeah, Joe Mazzulla, famously, the Celtics did I think it was a piece from their social account interviewing like Baylor Shireman and I'm forgetting who else, and they were like, yeah, we don't mind Joe. He doesn't mince words. He introduced himself to me by saying we don't like rookies around here. So yeah, not afraid to basically tell people where they stand. Clippers and Spurs. Clippers on the second night of a back-to-back. They have not submitted their report yet, so we'll skip past that and see if they submit at the 2:30 mark Eastern time. Spurs, they're just without their G Leaguers, Riley Minix, Harrison Ingram, and David Duke Jr. Any notes you have here on the Spurs?
Yeah, a couple things actually. The headline here is just the minutes flip. There's a lot of like kind of trends that were going on. We had pretty big changes. Most notably, Julian Champagny, who had been starting until Devin Vassell finally got his job back, which took way too long. But yeah, he really got cut down. The bench minutes got really trimmed as Stephen Castle got really trimmed down. Trey Jones minutes weren't there. We saw Zach Collins come to life a little bit. And Keldon, who was pretty productive per minute, still got 17 because 37 Jeremy Sohan, 37 Wemby, 35 Chris Paul. That's a really big trend we've seen for the last week and a half that Chris Paul's been playing mid-30s minutes. We thought it might be like, oh yeah, he got the Christmas game, but now we have like 3 or 4 games of them playing him pretty steady. As this team is 500, and I think kind of seeing where they're at before they get to the deadline. And then Devin Vassell also played 36 minutes. So the starters are playing a pretty good bit, and as they should. Like they're a pretty good unit overall. Pretty tough loss. But yeah, not too much else to add. We saw Harrison Barnes close, which he hadn't been doing. Had some big shots, scored 24 points in this game. So yeah, I feel pretty good that the minutes are mostly stable for obviously Wemby, Sohan, Vassell, and for the most part, Chris Paul. And then whoever's hot out of Keldon, Champagny, Castle, that's going to be a guy who squeezes in there to possibly close, which Mitch Johnson actually said. He's like, yeah, I don't really know who I'm going to close with. I just got to kind of go with the flow. But I feel, those top 4 I mentioned are pretty stable and would have to have a pretty bad game in tandem with some bench guy having a good game, not to get closing minutes.
Yeah, and they're also in a softer part of their schedule, not a lot of back-to-backs kind of in this stretch. So they might be stretching it out against some of this Western Conference competition that's for the play-in area. And then as the schedule tightens up, when they start to get more back-to-backs and stuff kind of loosen it back up. Minnesota and Oklahoma City, nice transition since Minnesota last played here. You can just scroll down. Questionable tag for Deshaun Nix, out tag for Rob Dillingham, a bunch of other G Leaguers that are out here, but really nothing that impacts the Minnesota rotation. What are your notes here for the Timberwolves?
Yeah, the another big trend here is Dante DiVincenzo, who was almost left for dead. Barely getting to 20 minutes, 2 hot games in a row. Outstanding shot making. Has kind of been cutting into Mike Conley's minute ceiling a little bit. There are some interesting comments from Chris Finch saying that they want to get Mike Conley going early. Which my donkey bet of the day is I bet Mike Conley first basket at I think it was 14-1. You gotta if you're gonna lean into quotes, you gotta play the plus 1400 or better kind of
I
stuff.
mean, if you're gonna do that, you gotta go all the way up on Mike Conley floater. You gotta go the specific method as well. I don't know.
Free throws was like 200-1. He may have maybe 10 free throws all year. I thought about taking 3-pointers, but there's some commentary from Mike Conley. There was a lot of stress for getting him going early here as his scoring has really, really fallen off. He says he's talked to him multiple times about Mike Conley shooting the ball more. Please don't make any big bets on that. But other than that, we're seeing Josh Minot squeeze in there. And then Ant's minutes have been down a little bit for the most part, but obviously playing fine. Still not really hitting his stride offensively. Rudy Gobert, we saw him playing 40s at times. That's also come down a little bit. There's a little bit more confidence from Chris Finch and the Julius Randle and Naz Reid front court pairing, and he mentioned he likes to have Dante out there with that duo as well. Nice win for the Wolves, kind of back on track after really struggling, especially offensively.
Yeah, the idea of we found out what wins out between quote bro and matchups bro with you, Mike Gallagher, because the idea of you taking a first basket on a primary pick and roll ball handler against the Oklahoma City Thunder, just based on a quote, we know what won out there. All right, Oklahoma City side, they're still without Alex Caruso, Chet Holmgren, Nikola Topic, Adam Flagler, and Alex Dukas. What are your notes on the Thunder here?
Yeah, not too much to say here. The only real story here is AJ Mitchell, really kind of staking his claim to being a solidified rotation piece, as he's kind of leapfrogged Isaiah Joe to a degree. But yeah, nothing too much to add here. We know Caruso dinged up that hip again. He'll be out for probably a little bit. I mean, aggravation for a guy who's always hurt should be out. But yeah, other than that, nothing to add. This team is just absolutely smoking teams with their elite defense. But yeah, Kaysen looks to be pretty firm as a starter. Jalen Williams, Jay Will, the big, also kind of locked in for minutes around 10 to 12, depending on the matchup and stuff. And you would think they may need him maybe a little bit more, given the size of Minnesota. So maybe he covers most of, if not all, the Isaiah Hartenstein minutes.
All right, let's go to Cleveland and the Lakers. Cleveland, also a team that we'll hold off on just in case they file at the 2:30 Eastern time mark, as they have not submitted here on the second night of back-to-back. The Lakers have questionable tags on Anthony Davis with the left ankle sprain, LeBron James with the illness, Gabe Vincent with a left oblique strain, out tags on Jared Vanderbilt, Christian Wood, and Jalen Hood-Schifino. What are your notes here on the Lakers?
Yeah, the main story here for the Lakers is a trade. D'Angelo Russell was sent back to Brooklyn to pick up Shake Milton and Dorian Finney-Smith. JJ Redick said he will not be changing the starting lineup yet because they have been playing well, which they have. So the starting lineup will remain with they missed LeBron over the weekend. He went through practice as well, so he'll be pretty much good to go. He has a Q tag, should be fine. Same with AD, he's dealing with stuff according to JJ Redick, but basically said they're going to be out there and giving it a go. So LeBron, Max Christie, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Anthony Davis will be the starting five. Obviously, Dorian Finney-Smith will be off the bench. They'll still have minutes to go to Don't Connect and Cam Reddish for 8. Their ninth man is and now I should mention, I don't think Gabe Vincent is playing. He did not practice yesterday, oblique injury. I mean, he didn't Jared Vanderbilt did more in practice than Gabe Vincent did. So I feel pretty good about Gabe Vincent not playing. So that leaves him with 8. That means the ninth guy should be either Shake Milton just acquired, or it could be Jackson Hayes coming back from injury. But I think they like Dorian as a small ball 5. So, it's one of those two guys. It could be both for 9 and 10 in Jackson Hayes and Shake Milton. But they might just, cut it to 9 or maybe even 8 in the spot. Not a back-to-back, I don't think. Nope. They play Thursday against the Blazers, and then they have a back-to-back. So, yeah, it could definitely just be 8. Probably going to be 9, as I mentioned, Shake or Jackson Hayes. And you would think with the matchup, with the size, you think Jackson Hayes has the edge, but he's been off for a bit from injury, so I'm not 100% sure it's going to be him.
Yeah, would note, I also think the player that's been with the team more likely to be the 9th man than the player who's like new to the team in terms of, especially a point guard, like learning sets, learning what they're trying to run and whatnot. I would note though that we'll see where injuries take us. That always seems to be a factor in the depth of the rotation. But I wouldn't be surprised if everybody's healthy and we're looking at a week from now and the Lakers are like struggling a little bit, that you see experimentation with a 10-man rotation. Because we've seen like JJ Redick at times get frustrated with the bench and like just try different pieces and do like partial rotations. I don't think we're going to start there because I think he prefers 9. I think it's only if things are not going well and only if everyone is healthy. But I think we might see that in a week or two as Shake Milton kind of gets acclimated. For right now, I would expect just 9. Now I expect Jackson Hayes to be the 9th over Shake Milton until Shake Milton gets a little bit acclimated. Because they're going to, if they have him out there, they're going to ask him to be like ball handling and stuff that he usually does. Okay. Memphis and Phoenix. On the Memphis side of things, long injury report here. They're without Santi Aldama, Brandon Clark, Zach Edey, Gigi Jackson, Jake LaRavia. That's a whole front court. John Morant, Marcus Smart, and Vince Williams Jr. That's a lot of a backcourt. And then they've got a questionable tag on Yuki Kawamura, which is really sad for Yuki Kawamura because this would be one of the few opportunities that he could potentially be playing. But what are your notes on what's left for the Grizzlies? I believe they are down to 9 players left. If Yuki's out, if Yuki's unable to go. So what are your expectations on what we see from the Grizzlies tonight?
Yeah, so we should have the same starting lineup they had when they got absolutely demolished by OKC over the weekend. So Scottie Pippen, Desmond Bane, who was trending for a lot. Desmond Bane was trending for mid-30s minutes, which he does not get very often, and they are thin. So we could get a lot of minutes at Desmond Bane. Jalen Wells, again, more minutes could be coming his way because they're thin. John Conchar basically starting as a 4, and then Jaren Jackson as a 5, which is a little bit unusual there. So that 5-man group, and as you noted, LaRavia went down. Santi Aldama is going to miss some time with a pretty nasty ankle sprain. So they're running out of – so they're going to have Luke Kennard, Cam Spencer, and then basically 2 bigs in Jay Huff and Colin Castleton. Should note they did overlap a bit, and Jay Huff can space the floor, has played some 4 in the past. So those guys are going to probably overlap a little bit just because they have to there. So and then, as you noted, so it's going to be, again, you only potentially have 9 guys. And I wouldn't be surprised if Yoki doesn't play either way. He's just so small. He's, either the victory cigar or, the other team's victory cigar in the case over the weekend. So not 100% sure that Yuki's going to play in this spot overall. But the bottom line here is, we're so used to Taylor Jenkins running 11, 12 that he can't run 11 this time. So you could get elevated minutes here in a matchup that's pretty good. The Suns defense has been struggling. So there should be some fantasy goodness here. I would say a decent bit more than we're used to because they just don't have the bodies to cut minutes down into the, upper 20s if, players have it going and the game's competitive.
Yeah, and good environment with the Suns struggling defensively as well.
Yeah.
So good spot for Memphis guys tonight. On the Suns side of things, they are getting back Grayson Allen from concussion protocol, a really bad concussion that cost him a number of games. He's listed as probable tonight. Bull and Devin Booker listed as questionable. Devin Booker with the left groin strain, Bull with left knee contusion. Devin Booker was at shoot-around, so the expectation is that he'll probably be able to return tonight. Yusuf Nurkic remains out with league suspension, and they're without Royce O'Neal, who's going to miss the next 10 days or so with a left ankle sprain. What are your expectations here for Phoenix tonight?
Yeah, as you noted, Grayson Allen, legit. He had sickness. He had a pretty severe concussion. It sounded absolutely horrible. I had a severe concussion back when I was in 8th grade that gave me, bad memories. But anyways, so he should be back and probably limited. We saw last time that he was out, earlier in the year, call it the second week of the season. They kind of capped his minutes because he went away for personal reasons and was dealing with a hamstring. So might play, low 20s, probably not more than mid 20s because they are pretty thin. I think in a perfect world, they'd want him playing 26, 27 because there's not a lot of size on the other side, and it's a good matchup. Memphis gives up a ton of catch and shoot stuff. So he'll be back. I would say, again, he said he's basically over it and he's good to go at practice yesterday. But as I noted, legit getting the elbow from Simone Fontecchio on the dome. But Devin Booker also expected to return, went through practice in full. He mentioned shoot around. This is the second groin strain that he's had in the last 3-4 years. My phone is going off like crazy right now. But the last time he returned, it was in the middle of February 2 years ago when he missed a month and a half. So, significantly less recovery time on a not severe groin strain. So it should be capped, but not strict. He had 26-minute cap in this last instance I mentioned that was more severe. So he could play around 30. Expect him to start. Expect him to kind of get back in the first unit with the core group of guys. Obviously, Tyus, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant. Who am I forgetting? Oh, no, that's the four. So that's four. Yeah, I got them. Tyus, Beal, Booker, Durant, and then a center. We think it's going to be Mason Plumlee to get the size for Jaren Jackson, and then also Iguodala behind him. But I think, and we debated this in our Slack for a while, I think that they could play really small. They've got some good wing depth, and there's just nobody to really worry about as far as imposing center spots besides Jaren Jackson. And they don't have any forwards. Like, they've got Jaren as a 5. They got those 2 centers, and they've got John Conchar, who's like a 2-3 for them, is playing the 4. So you could get away playing smaller. So I think we could see more minutes for the matchup going to Josh Okogie. We could see Devin Booker play all shooting guard to open up some minutes for Monte Morris. And then Ryan Dunn also should get some minutes here, probably being, a bit of a primary, picking up a lot of Desmond Bane. He will be coming off the bench, though.
Yeah, and ultimately, I think it's hard to play small against Jaren. I think it's fine to play small against Jay Huff. If they have Colin Castleton minutes, I think that's totally fine, even though Colin Castleton, a bigger dude. It's just easier. Like, those guys aren't a real threat to, like, really, punish you offensively. Jaren is. So I think it would be tough to do that. So I think if you think Jaren's going to play like 32, 33 minutes, I would think that is the cap on how much small ball you could have would be the non-Jarens, I would think. But we'll see in terms of how they approach things. And I do think that Plumlee is the best physical fit and athlete to try to defend Jaren Jackson that they have on this roster. So I think we could see Plumlee, if he stays out of foul trouble, kind of elevated a little bit. But we'll see. Oso has been good generally defensively, but I think Jaren's kind of a pretty tough fit in terms of, like, athleticism and size. All right, a couple updated notes before we get to the 2:30 injury report, which we are stalling a little bit for. But some updated injury notes. Grady Dick has been ruled out for Toronto. Mike, do you want to revisit
Davion starting? Just announced it's going to be Davy. Well, I mentioned if Grady Dick was back. So we got Davion, Walter, Akbaji, Scotty, and Pirtle. So Davion outhouse to penthouse now. Not expecting to play many minutes. I think Jamal Shead will play a pretty good bit. So I would probably say Davion. I'd probably be like 21 on minutes. I don't think he's going to close. I think they really like Jamal Shead. So, but yeah, obviously the minutes should be really good for Walter now in the first unit. He might. I'd probably put him at like 26, 27. I feel he could definitely touch 30 with the guard depth being really, really thin with RJ Barrett. And then, I think that mostly outlines the rest of it.
Yeah, I mean, they still have we're still projecting a 10-man rotation with like 8 overlap minutes on an 11th man. So they still have a lot of bodies available. And the willingness to play Davion Mitchell and start him, I think, is generally just not good for everybody. Like this guy who is out of the rotation entirely, the fact that they're willing to start him means he's probably playing at least like 16 minutes if they're willing to start him. And those 16 minutes might not have even happened if he wasn't starting. So I think in general, it's just a squeeze for everybody that's not really great. And they have enough bodies, especially when they're huge, huge underdogs here, that you could see really spread minutes. So I think we right now only have 2 players projected for 30 or more minutes, and that's Scotty Barnes and Oshiak Baji, with Pirtle a little bit behind there. But I think in general, like, this could be a spot that is kind of messy and looks like this box score below that you're looking at right now, with a lot of names in it, not a lot of minutes, and maybe some stymied production. The other news we got was Anthony Davis has been upgraded to probable from the questionable tag. So that's a good sign for Anthony Davis. I'm trying to refresh to see if I can get the injury report a minute early. Got it. Let's see what else came in.
Clippers have filed. Yep, Clippers are in there.
Clippers have filed. Nothing new. Kawhi Leonard remains out. His target date is January 4th. Terrence Mann remains out. No other questionable tags. So any other notes that you have from the Clippers?
Yeah, they just played last night. Really nice win. Norm Powell taking advantage of a really bad Pelicans defense. Pelicans have somehow become the second worst rim defense, second worst transition defense, and second worst catch and shoot defense. They are not very good at defense in New Orleans there. Never mind, I was gonna make a joke. I'm not gonna do it. Not too much to say. Again, the headline here is just Norm, 40 minutes. Probably won't play that in a back-to-back today. They haven't played back-to-backs in a bit. I don't think he's actually played a back-to-back since returning from his hamstring. Don't quote me on that. And then Zoo, as we noted, just dominating right now. Should get a good bit of the Wemby stuff. I was looking at some Wemby stuff before, and they put a little bit of Terrence Mann on him earlier in the year with a mixture of Zoo and then Derrick Jones Jr. I think it's going to be a mix of Zoo and Derrick Jones on the Wemby assignment there. And then again, Chris Dunn, he gets 32 minutes. He is cooking with gas from a minutes perspective. So I'm digging in on this bit that Chris Dunn could play 30 minutes every night now. And then the other note was KPJ did return from illness, and I think he was affected by it. Didn't look 100%. So I think coming off that illness, which is a common theme I keep talking about this season, that I think the illness could have a little bit of a lag on his productivity and minutes there, and then could see a little bit more of Nick Batum, who would guard his fellow countryman a decent bit. Although I think Zoo's going to probably be out there for most of those Wemby minutes.
Should also note, just generally, that just because the Clippers have filed does not mean that this is the final injury report for the Los Angeles Clippers. They've been better in the last year, but they have been long notorious for late additions to the injury report during the course of the day. So I would not treat this as gospel, as that everybody is available tonight. Some of those concerns you mentioned on players that have not played in back-to-backs before. Cavaliers did not file. They do not have to file until the 3:30 Eastern time report. So I don't think we have much to talk about there, but any notes you want to leave on the Cavaliers? Do you think we'll see Max Strus out tonight with the back-to-back? Dean Wade was listed questionable, was available to play last night. Any other notes on what we could see for the Cavs, who had another convincing win last night?
Yeah, no, like you said, we'll see if Max Strus is out there. They blew him out, so the minutes were down again. Just not getting minutes to these guys. I looked it up while we were chatting on our Slack. Their last 10 wins for the Cavs, their average margin of victory is 18.9 points. Just absolutely blowing teams out night after night after night. So expect Dean Wade. I don't think that knee thing was serious, but he could pop up there. Habitual knee injuries for Dean Wade. So he could be on the injury report. You mentioned Max Strus. Has not played in the back-to-back all season, just returned. He could definitely be on the injury report. But feel pretty good about Darius Garland, Donovan, Mobley, Allen, and the rest of their guys. Their minutes have been pretty solid. So, yeah, other than that, not too much to add. Just keep an eye out if Dean Wade and or Max Strus pop up on the injury report for the back-to-back.
All right. That will do it for the final free edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. Going to walk you guys through, for those of you who missed yesterday's show. This show is going to be turning premium starting tomorrow. If you are interested in continuing to watch the show, you will need one of the following subscriptions: either a DFS subscription, which you can see on establishedrun.com/subscribe-NBA. We currently are running discounted holiday sales on those subscriptions, so you will get it at that price. If you want to do a week pass, you get it $19.99 for the week. It would renew at $29, the original price tag. Same with monthly, same with season-long pass. That is the cheapest way to access this show. In addition to that, you will get a DFS show that happens 5 o'clock Eastern time to 6:30 Eastern time with myself, Mike Gallagher, a cast of characters from ETR. We drop a lot of the news and notes on this while also forecasting which players we think are going to perform well. Talk about it from a DFS perspective. There might be additional information that you get out of there from a betting perspective that you'd enjoy as well. You also get access to Mike Gallagher's matchups column that happens 3 times a week. That can be very helpful for betting side stuff as well. You get access to NBA DFS office hours with me every other week. Lots of great stuff. Top plays if you're playing DFS, all great stuff there. DFS projections as well. If you are interested in the prop side is a more expensive package. Right now, we have just one package. There is a second package that will be opening up tomorrow, but right now we're at $69.99 a week for player props. That comes with full stat projections that are released every day at 5 o'clock Eastern time, along with official bet recommendations that our team makes. We released one while we were on this show as well. We continue to release those throughout the day. Tomorrow, we will be unleashing the full stat projections only subscription as well, which will be a monthly subscription at $200 a month. We know these are premium prices. These are meant to be for people who are using these full stat projections to bet heavily. So we have a premium price on them. But that will be a separate subscription that launches tomorrow. Any of those subscriptions will have access to this show. The way to access this show will be going to establishtheRun.com, navigating to the NBA header, and in the drop down in the menu on NBA, you will see shows, and you will see already we have a link for tomorrow's injury show that'll be up there. Same time, different place, 2 o'clock Eastern time, but you can navigate to that with a subscription. You'll have access to that show. We will continue to release these shows Monday through Friday, 2 o'clock Eastern time, with myself, Mark Dankenbring, Mike Gallagher, cast of ETR characters, always bring things to analysis. We also might try to release some official prop bets and different things. Like, we're going to use this forum to try to create value for you if you are a premium subscriber. So we've been hesitant to do that stuff in the past. We don't want to step on giving away free stuff to when our premium subs are paying for it. We will be able to do more of that stuff and interact and drop more bets and different things like that in the future. So if you're wanting to stay with us and subscribe to the show, those are the ways to do so. If you just are interested in the free content from ETR, that's totally cool too. This YouTube page will continue to update with video versions of our podcast, other content that we'll drop in. Off season, we drop in the best ball strategy content. We do betting review content. We'll probably do some stuff around the My Guy draft, different stuff like that. You can also follow us on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it these days, at Establish the Run NBA. Once we get past football season, we might be going back to doing some of the playback episodes, some different things that are free streams that you can continue to interact with us. We really appreciate your support. I just want to say, in general, seeing a lot of positivity in comments in the chat the last 2 days was not what I expected when dealing with the internet just generally. So a heartfelt appreciation to those of you who have really enjoyed our free content over the years. And I know for some of you, it's just not going to be in the cards to follow us on the premium side. We will miss you. I'm sorry that we don't have an out that will be able to serve your needs there. And for those of you who do subscribe to us and reward us with your hard-earned dollars for our work, we really appreciate you guys. But the positivity in the comments in the chat, read, heartfelt appreciation. I want to wish all of you a happy and healthy new year as we go into the new year. I won't be asking for your likes or your subscribes at this point. You've all given enough. But really just wanted to say thank you. And before we get out of here, Mike, if there's anything you want to share before we depart.
No, just really appreciate it. Almost always getting positive vibes in the chat. Always appreciate people shouting out, getting the Grady Dick news. What a great way to go out with Grady Dick out news on the stream. But yeah, I always appreciate everyone. Always have a good time chatting with everyone and getting try to keep you guys updated. So sorry to see you guys go, but yeah, check us out if you're on the fence. Yeah, hey, do a weekly thing, $20, and see if it's for you, and go from there. So $20, there's worse things to spend $20 on. But yeah, looking forward to the premium side. But yeah, we'll still keep it rolling. Just a shout out to everyone who's not going to join us for the ride. Good luck to you guys for sure, and happy New Year. Great stuff from everyone. Always good vibes in the chat. It's always tough to see that. Sometimes some chats are not great, but yeah, just appreciate everyone.
Appreciate y'all. Happy New Year. And we hope to see you tomorrow for another edition of Established Run's NBA Injury Report Analysis Show. For the last time on the free side of things. Nom, 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 nom. Take care, everybody.